Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today I think we have a pretty cool one for you I want to share, and that is this 369 in 1 Game Boy Advance multi-cart. So it might be kind of stupid, I don't know, I just want to check it out. Obviously this is a Chinese product, no repeats, that's what they're claiming here, but I don't know, I'm calling shenanigans on that. 2048M, is that for Mario? Megabytes, what is that? So the claim is that this is the biggest Game Boy Advance multi-cart available. This thing came out about 3 years ago, 369 in 1. All right, we're gonna have to check that out, see what games we have here. But looking at this thing, the way it was advertised was that it came with like some kind of special case with artwork on it. Mine didn't come with anything. It was shipped in this little thing in a little baggie, and that was it. It is advertised to work with the original Game Boy Advance, which this is slightly modified, but it's still an original Game Boy Advance. And it's also listed to work with the SP and the Game Boy player on your GameCube. So we're actually going to capture footage using the GameCube via the Mark II from Eon. Definitely an awesome device. Being able to use HDMI on the GameCube is sweet, so hopefully this thing looks awesome. But we're going to go ahead and check out and see if they work on these systems real quick, and then dive up into the captured footage. So I have read online that, you know, the 369 in 1 is kind of a little nonsense. There's 369 games on here, but there's only about 22, maybe 20 Game Boy Advance games. Most of them are listed in the beginning, but the rest I think are just like randomly thrown around. So who knows, but it did boot up on this. First game I selected booted up. So that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and pop it into the original and see what to do. I'm noticing it's not exactly flush down here. Normally my games fit all the way down. This kind of is up a little more than usual. See if it's the same thing here. Oh yeah, that's a lot more noticeable on this. There we go. Normally on my Game Boy Advance, this little groove on the side of the cartridge will go all the way down. So there is a noticeable, you know, overlap here. It's protruding a little bit. So the shell is a little bigger than what it needs to be. Maybe it is to fit that, you know, 2048M board or whatever, you know, get all those 369 games on this thing. So there we go. It is booting up. It seems to be booting up just fine. Don't think we're going to have an issue with playing it on the Game Boy player to get a closer look at the games, but so far so good. Very cheap cart, so a lot of people seem to be interested in this kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and plug in the GameCube. The Game Boy player, you always need the disc, man. These things are getting hard to find, right? So we're gonna plug all that in, take a look at the actual game list, see what to do, give you guys my final thoughts on this thing. So let's do it. Okay guys, so we got this cartridge popped into the Game Boy player, peeping it out, and here we go. This is what it looks like. No repeat, 369 in 1. Now that is a bold-faced lie. So once I recorded the first part of this video, I started messing with this cartridge a little more to see if there was anything that stood out before I filmed the rest of this. And I started noticing a bunch of weirdness checking out some games. There's, you know, around 100, if not more, games on here that repeat itself. And the way they did it was they just renamed the games. Fairly typical crap, right? Once you start scrolling through this list of games, you'll start noticing a lot of stuff that you're like, what the hell is that? Very typical of like those collection multi-carts for the NES, which that jumps into the other thing. Like I said, there's only like 20 Game Boy Advance games here. The Pokemons are on here, the Super Mario Advance games, Mario Kart, Mario and Luigi, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And then from there, I'm not 100% what else is Game Boy Advance games. From what I have read, it's like 22. But once you start scrolling through, you just start seeing a lot of weird names of things. I'll give you some examples here that are just strange. Like you see these Super Contras, a couple of them are the same exact game, but they're ROM hacks, and they're really not that great. You do get a lot of, you know, original games on here, but it's really like Soulja Boy level quality stuff that we get on this thing. even playing NES games, the emulation is just crap. I'll give you some examples in a minute, but check this out. We have Excite Bike. That is the original Excite Bike. Now I was scrolling through this list earlier, going through the back, like what the hell's the Squirrel Super Fight, Mario Revenge. I don't know what half of this stuff is. The Real Hero, Wario Adventure. And then I got down to this one, Passion is a Bike. What the heck is Passion is a Bike, right? Like, is Passion a bike? I think I've been living a lie, right? But you get into this damn game, and what do you got? You got Excite Bike. That's all it is. It's Excite Bike. And I am damn sure, because I'm looking at my monitor right here, and it is flickering to hell. Even playing this on the Game Boy Advance, everything was flickery and weird looking. Some games would glitch and just look really bad. On your side of the screen, what you're seeing that I'm recording, I'm looking at over there, it's identical. It flickers, just looks like crap. It's just strange. Some of these NES games, you could hold like the L and R button to get into like an emulator setting menu. But on this one, it doesn't work. A lot of them it doesn't. Like you can just, you got to reset your game. You got to reset the Game Boy if you want to go back to the list. But if you do get into an NES game that you can access that menu, there's like a reset and an exit option and some other emulator settings, but reset and exit, they really don't do much. Reset resets the game that you're currently in. Exit just opens up another NES game. I don't know what the heck the point of that is, but you cannot get back to the menu without powering off your Game Boy, your Game Boy Advance. On the Game Boy player, you could just hit Z, go to change game pack, hit that, and then, yeah, and it'll just reset the game for you, and you can go back to the list. Now, the other thing, like, these kind of cartridges are fairly popular with people just buying them for their kids and whatnot, but there are some strange ROM hacks that I would never let my kids play or see. And yeah, there's a bunch of games on here, but at the same time, if you gave this to a kid, they're going to stumble across something randomly at some point. You get a bunch of games that are relisted over and over again, just with different names. You start seeing like the Mega Mans and then the Rockmans, and it's the same game. But then you get to like something like this, which I don't even really want to show, but I'm gonna have to because seeing is believing. But I'm gonna have to blur out all the obscene stuff that YouTube's not gonna want to see. So you see Rockman 6, you're like, oh cool, Mega Man 6, right? No, this is not Mega Man 6. This is a very, very obscene freaking ROM hack, man. Like, I don't even want to read what's up there. The names of these characters is just ridiculous, and then the flicker's just bad. Like, you can like not play. You cannot play this game, man. Like, it is just stupid. Like, even the graphics, some of the graphics in the games just start glitching out. I'm not even gonna bother playing this because it looks like garbage. None of the NES games play very well or look good at all on this cartridge, and I've tested on both, you know, the actual unit of the Game Boy Advance and on the Game Boy player. Not the Game Boy player making it look like crap, it's just the game, it's the emulator. The one thing I do want to point out is these games that do have saves, or you know, they support saves, from my testing so far, they do work. But the weird thing is a couple of these games, the Super Mario Advance games I tested it on, the Super Mario World one, and then the Super Mario 3 Advance game. When I first booted these games up, they were glitched to hell, and there was like these save files on there, and the save files were like glitched. It was like if you had a you know, and I've seen this screen before. I'm not 100% what the heck's up with that, but the saves, it would look like something like you screwed up with like a Game Genie, or you like moved your cartridge around or something. In this game, the graphics were glitched. Everything was crazy. I just selected a save file and got into the game, and it wouldn't let me play. It just froze on like this weird stuck level select screen, right? Like you could go through all this and get into the game, and it just froze. And that happened to me on multiple Game Boy Advance games. But then once I reset the system and went back into it, the game booted up fine and I could save my game. So as you see here, I kind of messed with this one a little bit, played a few levels and had no issue. But, you know, with these Chinese bootleg carts, man, you know, I'm not a fan of repros or multi-carts that, and I'm screwing up, I'm playing the game while I'm talking here, but I'm not a fan of you know, these reproduction carts if they require saves, because I just don't trust them. I've gotten repros. I'm not against repros. You know, I know a lot of people are. I'm not against repros, ROM hack, you know, all those kind of carts. I'm not against that stuff, but when they come out of China, it's just the level of quality is just so bad. I don't trust it. Like, you know, if there was a role-playing game I really wanted, I would not buy a repro of it from China. I just wouldn't. You know, either I'm going to have the original cart and have replaced the battery, or I'm going to use an EverDrive. That's just the way it is, because I don't want to risk playing these games and losing my, you know, time playing them. If it's just a casual game, fine. But, you know, with this cartridge being 10 to 20 bucks, depending upon where you get it, is there some value there? For some people, there might be. To me, I don't even care if it was $5. I'm going to save up to get an EverDrive. I already have an EverDrive for the Game Boy Advance and the original Game Boy, but a lot of people will buy these just to get a select handful of games, but the games that are included on here are 99% NES ROM hacks that are garbage. You get a handful of quality games, you're missing like Super Mario Brothers 1 and a handful of other ones that you would, you know, like to see, I guess, but it's just the quality on this cartridge, and for how popular it is, it's to me, it's not worth it, man. For these Mario Advance games, you know, maybe, but then you're gonna wind up losing your save file, in my opinion. There's gonna be something that goes wrong with these cartridges. I've read people having issues where they've gotten a cartridge and it just never saves, or a lot of the games are just jacked up, the graphics are messed up. I've seen that a little bit. Some of the games like Kirby's Adventure, the first time I booted that up, I don't even know where the heck it is, because there's like Kirby's Adventure 2 and 3, and I know those aren't Kirby games. Let's go to Kirby Adventure 2. This is, I'm pretty sure this is not a Kirby game. Like, this is, oh, it's just Kirby's Adventure. So it is a Kirby game. But they tricked you. They tricked you. They listed this multiple times. So there we go. And this one's in French. Kind of weird, but so it's just weird that they're putting the same game a bunch of times. I thought this was something else at first, from what I'd seen, but it's Kirby, and Kirby's Adventure is already on here. But the one that's listed as Kirby's Adventure, I played it, and the graphics were glitched, like really bad. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. I don't know if it's still going to be that way, because maybe when I went into the you know, the save file, maybe it did something. But this is like the French version too. The sound's not that great. A lot of things just don't look and sound good with these NES games. The Game Boy Advance stuff seems to be okay, but in the end, I really would just pass on this. I was playing this a little bit, and sometimes the background was all pixelated. The sprites were just jacked up. But this time it looks okay, but there's so many ways to play this game without this weird jitter and just nonsense. And I don't even think it's not even running as fast as the game normally would. But it is what it is, guys. I just wanted to share this with you. Like I said, I'm not against repro carts, multi-carts, but this one's just, the quality is bad, man. I would say pass. If you're looking for something to play on original hardware, save up for an EverDrive. I know the Game Boy Advance EverDrives are a little pricey. The original Game Boy EverDrive, like the X3, like 50-something bucks. But then with that one, you have to reset to do saves. You don't have a real-time clock, that kind of thing. But there's different versions of them that go up in price a little bit, that wind up having more features. And I think it's worth it over stuff like this. Like, you'll save some money buying something cheap like this to get a handful of games. And I'm willing to bet you'll be like, man, I should have just waited and bought an EverDrive. I mean, I'm a fan of the EverDrives. I wasn't always, but it's opened up my eyes to playing on original hardware for sure, and being able to access the hacks that I want to play, the played backups that I have of certain things where, you know, I don't have to worry about my save files disappearing. I can easily back up my save files if I so choose. So it's a magical thing. I love it. Love playing these games. Love taking a look at different products. You guys have any ideas for some weird products out there that are gaming related? Hey, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you want me to look at. This one I'm just saying is it's Boo Boo the Fool. It's really bad. It's not worth it, guys. So really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Smash that like button. Make sweet ass love to that notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Enter that contest I got pinned in the pinned comment. The pinned comment. Win one of those Brawler 64 transparent controllers. Once that little giveaway is done, I'm going to be putting up another giveaway for something worth a little bit more, but a lot of people have been excited for that, so it is cool to see all the people entering in for that giveaway. So stay tuned. Appreciate it. Peace out. Bye-bye, and boom! Bye!